Hi, Justine Spark Girls. This is Isa, and today I am here with Lauren Kate, the author of Fallen and her newly released book, Torment, the second book in her series. Can you give us, our readers, a brief synopsis of your new book?
The new book, Torment, picks up right where Fallen left off. So Luce has fallen in love with Daniel, her fallen angel love, and she is moving to a new place, a new state, a new school, a whole new cast of characters. And the main purpose of Torment is for Luce to learn more about her past lives. So she's figuring out that the shadows that have haunted her whole life and terrified her whole life are actually something that she can use to her benefit. And she's exploring her past lives through these shadows.
Interesting. So, obviously, your books deal a lot with religious aspects. The fact that it's about a human in love with an angel, it deals a lot with the history of heaven and hell. How do you research about these religious aspects? Does it stem from your own beliefs, or do you do research actually for it?
Yeah, I did a lot of really, really wonderful theological research that it was so interesting to me, I almost didn't know when to stop researching and when to start writing. I found a scholar at the University of California in Davis who is an angelologist, and she pointed me to all these great sources, and there are several mentions of angels, obviously, in the Bible, but most mentions of angels actually happen in the books just outside of the Bible. They're called the apocryphal texts. So it's all sorts of fascinating texts that were written around the same time as the Bible. Books like the Dead Sea Scrolls and the Book of Enoch. I checked out lots of trilogies and histories of heaven and hell. I think I scared the local librarians in the town where I was living because I was checking out, like Lucifer, Satan, Mephistopheles, and the librarians were just like, do we need to call security on this crazy girl? But yeah, I did a lot of reading, and I pieced together little bits from here and little bits from there and kind of created my own mythology for the books. It was a lot of fun.
Okay, so in an age of vampires and werewolves, why write about human-angel interaction?
It's funny, I get this question all the time, and I have to say that I don't think most writers are thinking about the trends out in the publishing world. I mean, I've read the vampire books, I've seen the movies, and I think they're great, but for me it was just about writing the best story that I could write. So I was always writing these love stories, and when I came across a reference in Genesis to a group of angels who fell in love with mortal women, that was what started it for me. And this whole sort of epic just exploded out of that. And it was a very organic thing that I don't think I thought too much about. How does this compare, to this book or that book? It just happened.
And there's also still a lot of mystery surrounding Luce and Daniel, even in Torment. Is there gonna be more clarification in the third book? Are we gonna learn more about their past?
Absolutely. I'm very, very excited for the third book. I know that Torment has just come out, but Passion is the book that I've just finished writing. So that will be coming out in the summer of next year, 2011. And it's a sort of prequel that looks back through time, across history, at all of the past lives that Luce has had with Daniel. So the love between these two that's been sort of cloudy and mysterious and always hinted at, but the reader and Luce, and really me, has never gotten to quite explore it in a really thorough way. And that's, I promise, that's all on the page in Passion. It's a lot of love and a lot of open history between these two.
So there's going to be a lot more clarification in the third book. Okay, and also I would love to ask about your writing style. I've read that you've lived everywhere, from Texas to Atlanta, now Los Angeles. Does your living in all these different areas affect your writing style at all? Or?
Yeah, I think that's a big part of how I've become the writer that I've become. And most of it is just, I would say, a curiosity and an openness to the things that I experience in my life, whether it's living in New York City or in a little farm in California. And the advice that I give to anyone who's trying to write a book or interested in writing is to be curious and be open about what's going on and what the things that you see and the people that you meet. And for me, the conversations that you overhear, I mean, that's where I get inspired so much by human relationships that I witness on the street or wherever I happen to be. I try to pull things all the time into my books.
Wow. And do you have any advice for these aspiring writers? Because obviously you're the model for writing outside your comfort zone, for writing about things that we don't know about. Do you have any advice for writers that want to achieve what you've achieved?
the easiest piece of advice, it seems very simple, but someone had to tell it to me before I could really figure out how important it is. Finish your book. Someone told me that, and I was, I'd written, 250 pages, and I had a book that I thought was going to be 275 pages. I was almost there, and I was bored with the book. I thought it wasn't a good idea anymore. I started writing it a year or two before, and I had a better idea for the next book. And I was telling a friend of mine, I'm just going to quit this one and give up, and I'll write the next one, it'll be better. And she said, finish your first book so that you know you can do it. And something about it really stuck with me, and I just went home and I wrote those next 25 pages, and it took me a week or 2 weeks or whatever it was, and then I really did know that, because the endings are always the hardest part, and I really did know then that I could always finish. And I've thought about that every single time. I've written 4 books since then, and every single time I get to that point and I think, I don't think I can do it, and then I just remember the difference between somebody who publishes a book and somebody who doesn't is that people finish, and then you can always go back and revise, you can always go back and make it better, but finish your book.
Great advice from an expert herself. Make sure to pick up your copy of Torment today. Thank you so much for letting us interview you.
This was great. Thank you.